Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Well, let's take two, right? Talk about that in a moment. So, welcome. If this is your first time hanging out, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And usually we'll take a first look at a game. Every once in a while, I'll do a live review. Did some for early October. But we are taking a first look tonight. That's right. We are going to dive on in and take a peek at Crown of the Kobold King. I don't know why I just used that voice. For Pathfinder 2nd Edition from our friends over at Paizo Inc. So yes, it is Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. This is live stream 840. Zoinks. It's your first time hanging out, just kick back, enjoy. If you are hanging out because you want to see the, I almost said review because I was reviewing stuff on the show the past couple of weeks. If you're hanging out to see the first look at Crown of the Kobold King, let me point out, we always tackle the tabletop gaming news first and then move into the first look. So it'll be about 35 minutes or so before we jump on in. So yes, this is take two. Started the stream and we had the power go out for like 3 seconds. So of course that shut everything off. So I'm like, it's been a while since we had anything like that happen. Yeah, it is what it is. So, hey, at least it wasn't like midway through the stream, fingers crossed, where all of a sudden now we would have two separate episodes. No, that actually will not happen. So, do want to mention that when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. We are doing reviews all month long. Each and every day is a brand new review at thegaminggang.com. Some of them have been my video reviews. Others are written reviews. Today, Sammy chimes in with a review at the website, so it is not a video review. So keep that in mind. Also, keep in mind, this is a live stream. So that means there is chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. Also, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours to take part in chat. Also, another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So, second time around, Stray Kismet is first out the gate saying hello. Viper Dave is with us. John Vogel is pointing out I'm wearing the wrong hat tonight. Well, the Padres aren't playing tonight. Are they? Maybe they are. I was so busy following what was going on with the Yankees and Guardians with all the rainouts. I was rooting for the Guardians. I this year I've been rooting for kind of the underdogs because Houston again, Dodgers again. Well, at least we don't have that. Yankees, but you figure what? Cleveland hasn't won a World Series since 1954, I think it was. And the last time they were in the World Series, this curse got broken. Never thought I'd live long enough to see that. So, who else do we got? Kathy Evans is with us. Christopher Rush has joined us as well. Who else we got? I think, there we go. Doug Roberts, Flaming Heron, and Testy Trekkie are all hanging out with us. All right. So, let's get things rolling along. I know that power outage for a second kind of threw everything off, but, it's not like we have this overly professional manner here anyway. This November, Direwolf Digital will be releasing Clank Catacombs. Here's the deets. Explore the haunted catacombs in a standalone Clank. I used to always go Clank deck building adventure like you've never seen it before. From series creator Paul Dennen and the team behind the award-winning Dune Imperium, which is actually really cool. Good game. Clank Catacombs brings a new twist to the hit line of Clank deck building board games. Rather than a single dungeon to plunder, the map in Catacombs is built as you play, with a series of modular tiles that are revealed as you find your way through tangled passages in search of treasure. Who knows what awaits in the depths below? Each play session presents a unique board that grows and changes as you explore, and fun new mechanics like ghosts, portals, and way shrines are sure to challenge even the most cunning thieves. I've got a cunning plan, me lord. Clank Catacombs is for 2 to 4 players, ages 13 and up, plays in 45 to 90 minutes, and it's going to carry an MSRP of $60 when it arrives in November. Sweet. I like Clank. I am a big fan of Clank. Will point out I have only played the core game. I take that back. I think I played one of the small expansions once. I did have an opportunity to take a much closer look at this at Gen Con, and unfortunately, the video was all messed up, so I wasn't able to share it, but it looked very, very cool. Talked about it with some of the folks over at Direwolf Digital. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that this is going to do very well for them. I really like the modular board aspect for this. So instead of having the same board, the same exact kind of approach that you can take each and every time, because people kind of get set into their strategies with Clank. Not so much this time, because that dungeon's going to change every time you play. Hamish McCall is with us in chat. Russell Higgins is joining us as well. I think I've said hello to everybody. I think I said hello to the Madman, one of our chat moderators, as is Flaming Heron. Like I said, threw me off a little bit with that, hey, the stream is starting in. Whoa, what happened to power? On to our next news piece. Now available from Hachette Games is Suspects. Here's the scoop. Suspects is a range of investigation games with streamlined rules and plots centered on the psychology of the characters in the style of Agatha Christie's novels. The first opus will feature the ingenious and fearless Claire Harper in 3 stories that pay tribute to the great classics of detective literature. Claire Harper was one of the first women to graduate from Oxford in 1927. Specializing in criminal law, she is also an adventurous traveler. Every mystery is an opportunity for her to test her formidable spirit of deduction and her unfailing determination. In this first episode, follow her in her investigations that take her from grand manor houses to shady theaters and from Scotland to Egypt. Suspects is for 1 to 6 players, ages 10 and up, plays in around 90 minutes. It does carry an MSRP of $29.99. It is available, as far as I understand, exclusively through Amazon.com. Well, I have to say the artwork, the cover artwork is interesting because it almost looks as if the character model was, oh my gosh, now I can't remember her name. The actress from Peaky Blinders, unfortunately, she passed away not too long ago, who played the sister. I swear it looks a lot like her. That's why it's kind of funny. Sometimes you'll be looking at different game artwork, cover artwork, and you'll be like, wait a second. That artist obviously used XYZ as inspiration. I mean, sometimes it's like, wait a second. So we will take a peek at that one more time. You can tell me if you agree or disagree with that artwork, but I swear, there we go, right there. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm cracking up. Coco B is with us in chat saying, hey, gang, let's give Jeff Pumpkin to talk about. There you go. Russell Higgins says, Jessica Walter, she's not in Peaky Blinders. You're thinking of Archer. Although, I got to be honest, it does look a little bit like Jessica Walter, too. It does, just a little bit. Peaky Blinders is actually a pretty good show, although I haven't watched the last 2 seasons. So, Tessie Trekkie says, we need to squash all these puns. So let's talk about some role-playing game news, because there is a new edition of Kids on Bikes, which is up for crowdfunding on Kickstarter for Hunters Entertainment. Some people refer to them as Hunters Books as well. Or we could also say Renegade Game Studios, because they're going to be involved. But I think it's essentially Hunters Entertainment. Have you ever longed for the days when you could jump on your bike and pedal off into adventure? Have you ever wanted to find yourself in the middle of a mystery, surrounded by danger and surprises? Do movies and TV shows like Stranger Things, The Goonies, Super 8, Monster Squad, and It make you want to tell your own stories in a world full of excitement, drama, and discovery? Are you ready for all new big adventures in small towns? Welcome to the Kickstarter for the highly anticipated second edition of the Emmy Award-winning role-playing game Kids on Bikes. In this new edition, we're updating the rules while maintaining the same wonderful vibe of the game that tens of thousands of tables have fallen in love with. This new edition simply means that we've made some major improvements and rules clarifications that will enhance your gameplay and work perfectly with any first edition books that you already own. The creators and our developers focused on a whole host of neat additions, enhancements, and yes, even more adventure. There is a short, about 2-minute Kickstarter video. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
Hey kids! Are you tired of wasting your playtime with games that make you feel like you're stuck in the past? Are you tired of playing your parents' musty old role-playing games? Do you long for exciting and fun adventures in a setting that takes you back without holding you back? Then you need the all-new Kids on Bikes 2nd Edition! With the 2nd edition of Kids on Bikes, you'll find all of the awesome Kids on Bikes action that you've come to love. But now, with double the mystery, double the drama, and double the fun! The all-new edition of Kids on Bikes is jam-packed with all of the Kids on Bikes that you love, but it also has new rules and updates that help you and your friends tell amazing stories in a world of your making. The new Kids on Bikes is chock full of all the details you'll need to run endless campaigns that put kids in the center of the action. But wait, there's more. If you act right now, you'll not only get a discount on the retail price of the game, but you have a chance to snag these extreme exclusives available only during the Kickstarter. Backpacks, exclusive dice, map packs, arcade tokens, NPC cards, character sheet journals, and more! If you help us hit our goals, we'll add exclusive creator content in the form of adventure zines! For every $10,000, we'll add special 8-page adventure to the rewards for all backers! The new Kids on Bikes 2nd Edition! Available now on Kickstarter. But act fast, it won't be around for long.
Hey kids, let's talk for 2 minutes about our Kickstarter and not tell you anything about our Kickstarter. How long did it take everybody out there to start getting irritated with that voiceover? It took me about 30 seconds. And I was like, yeah, the bloom is off that rose. I'm just picking on Hunter's Entertainment because I liked Kids on Bikes. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was a really, really good role-playing game. But strangely, that video, like I said, for one, it tells you nothing about the Kickstarter, but it also is like it's aimed at little kids. And little kids aren't really playing Kids on Bikes. Gotta be honest. Maybe there's some parents out there who are running Kids on Bikes for their family and kids and friends and that. But for the most part, it's adults playing this role-playing game. Flaming Aaron asks, who's this Kickstarter for? People who already have kids on bikes or kids? Not sure. Yeah, I thought that was very bizarre. I'm not sure who came up with that idea that, hey, let's get this irritating voice for 2 minutes and not tell you anything about this Kickstarter, which actually funded in its first few minutes. You can reserve a copy of the game in hardcover. Should probably be another digest size like the original. In fact, the original Kids on Bikes Deluxe Edition was just sold in the 50/50 game sale to benefit Extra Life. Talk about that after the news. Anyway, you can get the hardcover for a $45 pledge, the soft cover for a $35 pledge, or just the PDF for a $25 pledge through November 9th. Expected delivery is next July. And as far as I understand, this is almost completely finished. One other aspect that you may want to take a peek at, and it was mentioned in that god-awful video, is that there's additional content for every $10,000. They've got a lineup of some pretty good creators that you've heard of who are going to create, these 8-page adventures and things like that for Kids on Bikes. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Christopher Rush says, huzzah, they're back. Nice. Tessie Trekkie says this is aimed at millennials and late Gen X. It's a very 80s, 90s kid toy kind of ad. Yeah, well, we'll talk about kid toys in a little bit, actually. That's a nice little segue for our brief intermission. Man says that Kids on Bikes video reminds him of bad infomercials. But wait, there's more. Now available in PDF and coming very soon to print is the One Ring Ruins of the Lost Realm. In the westlands of Eriador, between the Misty Mountains and the Mountains of Lune, the hobbits found both men and elves. Indeed, a remnant still dwelt there of the Dunedain, the kings of men that came over the sea out of Westernaise. But they were dwindling fast, and the lands of their North Kingdom were falling far and wide into waste. A region often described as deserted becomes a crucible for adventure. Ruins of the Lost Realm is a beautifully illustrated 120-page hardcover volume, which contains a trio of chapters. First chapter, Fog over Eriador, offers a description of the regions that once were part of the Kingdom of Arnor, with a focus on the city of Tharbad. Of course, I'm mispronouncing all this stuff. You know that. It's fantasy, okay? It's like, I don't remember any of this from like The Hobbit or Lord of the Rings. And it's been a long, long time since I even peeked at the Silmarillion. There's also Chapter 2, A Gathering Storm, which provides the lore master with a set of narrative elements aimed at building a possible future for the land of Eriador as a whole, including the description of many looming threats, lore master characters, and their agendas. Finally, there's Chapter 3, Landmarks, which adds 12 sites of interest in the style of the one presented in the core volume. These locations depict both historical sites mentioned in The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and others that have been created specifically for the game. The 120-page The One Ring Ruins of the Lost Realm is available now in PDF over at DriveThruRPG. You can score it for $19.99. You can pre-order the hardcover volume, which has a release date of October 25th, and you can get it for $39.99. And it releases on my mom's birthday. Yes, if you're not a constant viewer, I guess, my birthday is the day before my mom's birthday. So I've always joked around that I was the worst present she ever got, and she couldn't return me either. So Tessie Trekkie says, the ruins of the Lost Realm are lovely. So Tessie Trekkie also told me I make their wallet cry. Hey, not my fault you can't practice restraint. So 245 Taraxon says, not to ruin any future news stories, but the Kickstarter for Savage Worlds Horror Companion and Pinebox Middle School, which is a Kids on Bikes ripoff, which is actually a ripoff of Bubblegum Shoe, is live. Oh, is it? Trying to rain on my future news parade. Batman says he already backed it. So there you go. I'll have to take a peek. I'll take a peek to see what's cooking with that. Pinnacle Entertainment, they're another one of these companies that just, I just don't have an easy time getting on board with them. They had sent me some PDFs previously years ago and reviewed them, and that was kind of it. So, don't know. So, I tend to share news stories for companies who support the gaming gang, and B, stuff that catches my eye and looks really interesting. And on occasion, C, little independent companies that I think could use a boost. My final news piece Speaking of companies that love to support the gaming gang, Cubicle 7 Entertainment has released the latest adventure for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Here's the latest on Vasheim's holdouts. As the necroquake takes hold of Zargarond, the undead rise from their graves and attack the living. In one city, a vampiric overlord called Rudhukard the Wolf, pulling these pronunciations out of the air or someplace else, seizes the opportunity to claim the city of Mournhold for himself. Down in the corpse-riddled streets, a band of desperate soldiers seek to escape the cursed city. As the light dims, they have no choice but find somewhere to hold out until dawn. Sounds a little Black Hawk Downish, don't it? Vasheim's Holdouts is a horror-themed one-shot adventure for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. The adventure pits a motley crew of grim and perilous soldiers against Radikar's undead hordes during the Necroquake and his usurpation of the city of Mournhold, soon to be renamed Ulfencairn. You and your allies are tasked with reinforcing an eerie mansion against hordes of undead enemies during a night you'll never forget. Will you survive, or will you join the ranks of the undead? Vasheim's Holdouts works perfectly as a standalone adventure, a break from your regular Soulbound game, or as a prequel to future adventures in Ulfencairn, City at the Edge of Death. Must be a book coming out with that as a setting. This 30-page PDF includes a brief introduction to the city of Ulfencairn, tips and tricks for running the grim and perilous campaign framework, a detailed manor house location brimming with character and dark secrets, the Vasheim's Holdouts action and horror-filled adventure, which we've just been talking about, as well as 5 pre-generated grim and perilous characters fit for a night of horror in Ulfencairn. The 30-page PDF of Vasheim's Holdout is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $4.99. Sweet deal. So 245 says, yeah, ripoff was too strong a word. Kids on bikes like is what they should have said. Well, you know how things are in the gaming industry. It's really, really tough to, get people on copyright infringement. Unless, you're sitting there and you're like, oh yeah, so I got this fantasy game I've come up with and it's got beholders in it. And is it Blink Dogs or Displacer Beasts? That's another big one. Mind Flayers, I know that's one that you don't be putting no Mind Flayers in your role-playing game. That there does belong to Wizards of the Coast. All right, that's the news for tonight. So, I was just talking about DriveThruRPG. Don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG or DM's Guild or Storyteller's Vault, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com. First, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, their Halloween sale has begun. And I completely forgot. They started doing this last year. They've done away with the little scavenger hunt where you were looking for like the little ghosts and little candies, witches' hats. Well, we also had bats, things like that. So now if you go to DriveThruRPG, I think it's the only site they're doing it on. Because it used to be you'd go scavenge the same pages, really. on a variety of the One Bookshelf sites, and you would get free PDFs. In fact, years ago, I'm not talking like 20 years ago, but like 6, 7 years ago, some of them were tricks. Some of them were like, the hell is that? You know, they weren't all treats. Now they're all treats. All you got to do, click on the Halloween ad, and it's going to show you a trio of free downloads, and they're supposed to change every day. So we'll find out. I think it just kicked off yesterday. So it did look like there were new items today as opposed to yesterday. And one of them, off the top of my head, is I think it's a Gallant Knight Games role-playing book. So a lot of times the PDFs are pretty cool. So once again, I might be wrong. I mean, I know it's a full game. It's a rules light game. For some reason, I want to say it's Gallant Knight Games, but it might not be. All righty. So something else to mention. If you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find the gaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to thegaminggang.com. Why did I say that? Well, you could do that and click on our Buy Jeff a Cup of Coffee, a Cup of Joe banner. You can always swing over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation. And thankfully, there are plenty of folks out there who either use the banners or swing by paypal.me or both. In fact, the Madman was kind enough to swing on by paypal.me very recently. And it was not such a small donation that he made. So thank you very much. Also, we have the 50/50 game sale to benefit Extra Life that is currently going on. And want to thank some folks out there who are taking part. Madman is one. Christopher Rush, Tessie Trekkie, I think. Coco B. I know Coco B is getting their hands on some cool games. So at this point in time, I want to say we are very, very close to what I raised for Extra Life last year. And we're only like 3 days into the sale. So I was like, oh, hey, cool. So essentially what happens is half of the proceeds after PayPal takes their cut is donated to Extra Life. And I'm going to do that on the 5th of November, which is the Extra Life game day. And I'm probably going to do a live stream on the 5th. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe we'll just do some live first looks and do a little, AMA kind of thing. I don't know. Just I want to do something for it. That's one of the reasons why I do the 50/50 game sale, but I also kind of want to take part in the game day. I just can't get the gang together to play anything. So, like, my best friend Elliot Miller has been under the weather a lot. My nephew Cameron works on Saturdays now. His girlfriend, who was part of, I want to say it was the last time we did a live marathon. Well, they broke up. So I don't think my brother's going to be around. So, yeah, Russell says, just wing it. That's right. Just wing it, baby. So that I will do. Okay. So last night I had mentioned GaryCon and then forgot to talk about it. So real quickly, I had been bouncing around attending GaryCon. So I reached out to them and I asked if because I didn't see anything regarding the press. Now they did show that they had spectator badges, which are like $20. I don't know if they're just for a day or whatever, but you can't take part in any of the gaming. I said, well, I'm like, I'm not going to go up there and not get into games and that. So I was holding off because I wanted to find out if my best friend Elliot Miller wanted to go. So I talked with him today, and it was kind of funny because he said, well, you know, I'm kind of laying low from conventions right now because he got COVID at Gen Con. Him and his son both got COVID. I didn't. I dodged that bullet, even though they were staying with me. Anywho, so I said, do you know what, I asked, do you know what GaryCon is? And he said, no, not really. And he was kind of like, tell me a little bit about it. And I told him what I know of it. And he was like, oh, hey, you know what? I want to go. So I'm like, okay. So I booked the room. I did not buy the pass yet. So I'm going to just buy a silver badge, which is, you know, like an attendee 4-day badge, which is like $100. And, but I really want to check it out. I would like to rub elbows with some of the folks who worked at TSR. Now, there are some that I've talked to over the years that I got to be honest, I didn't realize who they were. Frank Metzger, as a prime example. I didn't know who he is. Talked to him a couple of times at Gen Con over the years. Just, you know, shooting the shit kind of stuff. So, yes, we're going to go. We're going to go. We're going to have fun. So I was like, cool. Very cool. All right. So William Hell Has Eyes is with us. Beat Cafe has joined us. It has been a while since Beat Cafe has been with us in chat. Good to see you. Keldon is in the house with us as well. William asks, TSR still exists? Well, we always see this like strange TSR raise its hand from the grave, but right now it's less said about them, I guess, probably the better. So I don't even know if they're, you know, still solvent or not. But the original TSR was sold to Wizards of the Coast. So there is that. I'm actually listening to Slaying the Dragon right now, which interestingly enough, I had listened to, is it Mage Wizards, the John Peterson book? I keep forgetting the title to it. For some reason, I want to say it's Mage Wizards. But it was the, like, Gary Gygax years of TSR. And I mentioned this last night. I thought it was a pretty fair treatment for both of them, although him and Dave Arneson kind of made them both out to be kind of jags, but not to like everybody, but like to each other and certain people and things like that. So Slaying the Dragon actually is mainly about the TSR years after Gygax got run out the door. And it's very interesting because I didn't know hardly any of this stuff. I mean, yes, I know the Williams, what the hell's her name? I don't know. See, I listen to this stuff while I'm working on other things, so not all of it always. But yeah, some pretty cool stuff. Pretty interesting. So I've been enjoying that as well. And that book is actually very recent. Roberta Williams? I don't think that was it. I thought it started with a J. I don't know. Janine or something. I don't know. Whatever. She's still around. I mean, but of course, TSR's long gone. But very interesting take. And I want to say I think this book is from this year. And it's written by somebody who wrote for Geek and Sundry. Remember those folks? Thank you, Kevin. Lorraine Williams. That is it. Much I knew. By the way, Hi, Kevin. I didn't say hello to you yet. I didn't see you. So, as Kevin points out, well, I never played, me personally, basic games like BECMI. I did not. And we've talked about that a little bit. And the funny thing is, I would actually probably run those over maybe AD&D if it came down to it. So Russell Higgins says they had Sierra Online on their mind. Oh my gosh, that is a blast. From the past, Russell, thank you. They made some good games. Some very, very good games. All right, anyway. So we are going to dive in. We're going to be taking a first look at Pathfinder Crown of the Kobold King in just a couple of moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
Do you see what I see?
I see a beautiful hamburger.
I bet it's a clue.
Yeah, I bet.
We'd better memorize it.
I don't think we'll have to memorize it. The hamburger's winning.
Boy, my mouth's watering. Let's go.
If you don't start drinking Wilkins coffee, I'll make you into two befores.
I should have saw this coming.
He always was a cut-up.
Discover a world of mystery and magic.
Stand back, Strongheart. You shall never have this treasure.
All evil is no match for good until we meet again. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons action figures from LJN. Pure magic.
That's right. You'll be able to use that free gallon of gas certificate at nowhere. It's like sort of like, oh yeah, insert your local gas station here. Yes, Wonkins does not survive. Although I have to laugh. I get a kick out of I should have saw this coming. Sweet. Alrighty then. Today we're going to dive on in, take a first look at Pathfinder Crown of the Kobold King, written by Jason Bullman, Tim Hitchcock, which, little known fact, Tim Hitchcock is the great, great, great grandson of Alfred Hitchcock. I bet you didn't know that. And I'm lying. Nicholas Logue and F. Wesley Schneider are also credited as writers. Artwork is provided by Sedawan Lee, Emmanuel Desati, Francesco Di Pestina, Rob Lazzaretti, Pixoid Studios, hey, at least I pronounced that correctly, Riley Spalding, Jesse Sursu, and Mark Irwin Teresi. Sorry, I know I butchered almost all those names. This 126-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $39.99, or you can grab the PDF starting October 26th for $27.99. Do want to mention Paizo Inc. has officially announced an increase in their PDF prices. And if you were paying attention to the announcements of various different products, you would have seen that the PDFs have gone up. But it is official this month. Sorry to say, but it is a sign of the times. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera. Okay, before I do, thank you, Kevin, for the correct name of that book, Game Wizards. I don't know why I keep saying Mage Wizards. It's the same damn thing. It's like car automobiles. I enjoy that. So there's some discussion of Pathfinder with Williams asking Pathfinder fans, yeah, we get them tuning in. We've got folks who like Pathfinder. Personally, I like it. I'm a fan. See, I'm lucky. I don't have to have a dog in any of the fights here because I work with a lot of different companies. And now we'll switch over to the other camera. Should point out, first off, the fine folks over at Paizo Inc. were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. Christopher Rush says, Pathfinder 1E, yes, they are a fan. 2E, no. To each their own. Anywho, it's important that you know that nobody's slipping me any bucks in my pocket to share this with you and say good things about this. So there is that. Of course, I'm going to stay picture-in-picture up here, as I always do. So as we take a peek through, I'll be cutting off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book. We're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for the trio of adventures that are included in Crown of the Kobold King. I do believe this is marking the 20th anniversary of Pathfinder. So the Crown of the Kobold King is like one of the first Pathfinder adventures. So it is making a return. So first thing before I start talking about what's on the back here, I had an opportunity to see the little, well, they're not little. They're about 3 feet, 3.5 feet tall. Those Whiz Kids kobolds, they make them, there's 2 different ones. One's red, one's blue. I saw those at Gen Con, stood next to them. They are awesome. They are so cool. And they're also, I think, like $300. Return of the Kobold King. One of the first Pathfinder adventures returns in an expanded format. The town of Falcon's Hollow is in peril as Kobold King Merlocrep, first of his name, is ready to expand his domain. A classic adventure awaits, ready to bring a new brand of heroes from 1st to 6th level. There we go. What, no Meepo? Yes, I like kobolds. I still remember when kobolds were little dog-faced creatures, not lizard creatures. So there is that. So we've got, I want to say, I thought this is a trio of adventures that have been kind of like reworked to make into a bit of a campaign. I might be completely wrong, but I thought that's what the approach was. All right, so we get an introduction. Only the desperate and the brave, so reads the proud motto of the town of Falcon's Hollow. For here on the fringes of Andoran, in the shadow of the looming volcano known as Droskar's Crag, the dim, mist-laden forests are prowled by feral beasts, ravenous monsters, and the restless souls of the dead. I gotta say, this artwork has kind of grown on me, the cover art, because I actually liked the placeholder art they showed. And then this arrived, and I looked at it, I was like, really? I like the other art. But it has grown on me, especially since it's gazing lovingly right at me. Keldon says they had the Ogre King D&D figure. So William says old rules are better. Kevin says that they've played both editions of Pathfinder and enjoyed both. I like to point out to people all the time, and maybe we'll talk about this when I do that live stream for game day. Kind of my approach to just game mastering in general. And I am not a stickler on rules. I am more about having a good time, everybody enjoying themselves, everybody having a little bit of time to shine in the spotlight at the table every session. And I find people who are the most critical of role-playing games are tend to be folks, and I'm not talking about anybody in chat. I'm just talking about in my experience. People who are like really, really ultra critical tend to be people who are just way too into being rules lawyers. It's like, no rule system's gonna be perfect. And one of the aspects of second edition Pathfinder that is quite different than, say, fifth edition D&D, because a lot of people are along the lines of, they're kind of the same game. Because, Pathfinder's essentially D&D 3.75. I guess now we could say it's like D&D 3.9. You have far more customization options in Pathfinder for your different characters and your various different classes than 5e. Like right off the bat, we're talking straight from the core rule book itself. There is tons and tons of options, and that is what a lot of players like. Hamish McCall says that he had the Pathfinder second edition beginner box and want to grow that collection. I love that beginner box. I think Paizo really set the tone for a lot of these beginner boxes that have come out over the past few years, with the Starfinder beginner box as well as the Pathfinder beginner box. And I say it all the time, keep your eyes peeled. If you're ever interested in dipping your toes into Pathfinder second edition, watch Humble Bundle, because 2 or 3 times a year, you'll find just a smashing deal with like $500 worth of Pathfinder PDFs for like $35 at most. So Christopher Rush said they have hundreds of dollars tied into first edition Pathfinder and did not want to keep rolling in second edition. They still want to play out that other stuff. I completely agree with you. Get your money's worth. That's one of the problems that we have in the gaming industry, more so with board gamers, and that is that the cult of the new. It's everybody, I'm really loving this game, but look at that. So, I mean, it's everywhere, but still. So we have Welcome to the Hollow as our first part. Falcon's Hollow is the end of the line for many of its residents, a final destination and a flight from the law, a haven from crushing debts, a sanctuary from abuse, or a new start free from religious persecution. Yet those who dwell in the town know that it has more than its fair share of problems, and many who come to live here soon realize they simply traded one set of worries for another. Flaming Heron says, always loved a new shiny thing. So I forget who it was. Somebody mentioned Tim Kask. I think it might have been Coco B talking about how Tim Kask calls Lorraine Williams she who must not be named. Tim Kask seems like he'd be a pretty interesting guy to chat with, sit down, have a beer, and talk with. I love the fact, as far as I know, now I might be wrong, but I could have swore Tim Kask still plays original Dungeons and Dragons. That, well, I guess he runs it at, for one, I think Gary Con and I think Gen Con. And that's his preferred role-playing game. So you can tell Tim Kask is not drawn in by the newest shiny thing. All right, so we get a bit of a map. Of course, keep in mind, I am skipping pages here. So it is Komokmerk. Ooh. Hey, I do want to point out, here there be spoilers. So I should have mentioned that before we dove in. I'm so used to saying that when I do my reviews. So yes, we've got an unkillable zombie kobold. That is exactly what it says. Unkillable. Just taking a peek through. So we got quite a few different varieties of kobolds here. Yeah, I ran Sunless Citadel for my nephew Cameron and his friend Cameron, which is, how weird is that, right? Cameron's not that popular a name, and one of his friends is named Cameron as well. And my nephew Cameron's girlfriend at the time, and they just had a blast. And of course, I played it up with Meepo. I'm Meepo. Meepo the kobold. Unfortunately, Meepo ended up buying the farm. It was hysterical. They're like, no, not Meepo. It's like, yep. Christopher points out, no doubt Paizo has beautiful books, though. Wonderful books. I don't mean to dump on Pathfinder 2nd edition at all. Just me and my group aren't feeling it. Yeah, exactly. I'll be the first one to point out, I like 2nd edition Pathfinder. It's probably far more crunchy than I would want to deal with running it at my table. Now, that does not mean I have not stolen adventure paths and presented them in much simpler game terms. Of course. So William says nothing wrong with D&D from the 70s. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with any role-playing game. As I mentioned, unless people are like being mentally tortured or, you're hurting people's feelings around the table, well, then there's a problem, but the problem there probably lies with the people playing, not the actual rule set. But as I've said time and time again, as long as everybody's having fun at the table, nobody's getting their eye poked out with a stick, and people are coming back for more, as a game master, you're doing it. You're doing a great job. So it doesn't matter if you're running rules from the 70s or prototype rules of stuff that's on the horizon. So this is, looks like this chapter here, is that like a witch's hat? Yeah, well, looks like that witch didn't survive that encounter. Looks like here we've got a battle in the Kobold Warren. All right, so Hungry Are the Dead. Like I said, I thought that this has a trio of previously released adventures. So I think it looks as if, let's see something here. Just taking a peek. Well, yeah, I guess it's supposed to be in the same area. So it says the PCs can continue exploring the dungeons of Droskar's Crucible at their own pace, but events within the dungeon aren't static, and then it kind of goes. So it appears that we've got the trio of adventures have been reworked to kind of try to make them more into a long campaign. Another aspect of the Paizo releases, doesn't matter if we're talking Pathfinder or Starfinder, always solid artwork, always very cool maps. Now, one knock that I hear a lot is that the maps in the PDFs are not high enough resolution. But I thought, I might be wrong, but I thought they also have standalone map packs. I don't really check out the PDFs all that much. And in case you did not know, Sammy Uhas does a vast majority of our Pathfinder reviews. So, All right, so it looks like we've got some undead here that we're dealing with. Part 3, Grave of the Third Seal. A toxic furnace. Smoking furnace brings to hiss and click. Oh, I'm sorry, begins to hiss and click. And its vents swivel and adjust to spew toxic fumes in the direction of intruders. How nice. How pleasant. Oh, geez. The disciples. Bum, bum, bum. So, of course, there is going to be a review for Crown of the Kobold King, and I will actually be doing the review because this is kind of a standalone. So I tend to like to have Sammy do the adventure paths and try to tackle some of the Starfinder stuff. I should also mention I am always on the lookout for more reviewers of PDFs for role-playing games. I can never have enough because I could provide far more reviews for role-playing games if I had more reviewers. But, I mean, my reviewers are pretty much snowed under. All right, so there's an undead Kobold King. Looks like this is where we wrap it all up as the player characters do battle with King Merlecrep. So we get an adventure toolbox. So we get some new magic items. We should get some new spells, I would think, and a bestiary. So these are all our new items here. And here is our bestiary. Oh, guess maybe no new spells. That's okay. And we get our open game license as well as some ads. Sammy reviewed Book of the Dead. So we've got that. Secrets of Magic too. All right. So that is Pathfinder, Crown of the Kobold King from Paizo Inc. And as I mentioned already, I will be doing a review for Crown of the Kobold King. So stay tuned. And of course, it'll be a video review. Once again, this 126-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $39.99. You'll be able to get the PDF beginning October 26th for $27.99. All righty then. So William said, Kobold Cornucopia in the book. Yes. This looks kind of interesting. So it takes player characters from 1st to 6th level. So that is a pretty good range. So Coco B. Yes, Kobold B asks. Coco B says, no Kobold Slayer prestige class? I don't think so. Let's take a quick peek. Let's see. Let's go take a look at the index. I think there was an index. Wasn't there an index? Maybe not. No. Okay, so real quick, I'll go back. Let's take a look at the toolbox because that's where we would have seen it. No, that is not in here. Kevin says in 2E it'd be an archetype, not a class. Alrighty. So that is it for this time out. If you liked the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my review of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, the Horned Rat Companion from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Tomorrow, I will be back. We are going to crack open and take a look at the Fallout starter set from Modifius Entertainment. So if you are curious about this, by all means, tune in for tomorrow's show. Hopefully we don't have a power outage seconds into the stream. Fingers crossed. Alrighty, if you were watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. If you took part in chat, hey, bonus experience points. I know Flaming Heron was curious if they're at level 2 yet. Don't question the Game Master, man. Don't make me bust out undead who suck levels out. Anyway, I know a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out of your busy life to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. All right, everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it happens to be in your neck of the woods. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, that's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.